Hello, my beautiful sisters. Welcome. I am here with Michele PW, the author of the Love Based books, and she has her own business called Love Based Biz. Yeah, Love Based Copywriting Method. She has like 5 volumes of the Love Based books, and she writes fiction books as well. And I just love her so much. And she's so amazing, and her energy is fantastic. And you'll find that out in a few seconds. She has her own copywriting school that she also does, and she was a freelancer for a while. And now she kind of helps other copywriters and people like business owners along the way that kind of need help with copywriting. She was just telling me about her new program called Love Based Copy, which you'll hear about at the end of this video. But today we're going to talk about something that's really important as part of the copywriting skills, which are headlines, subheadlines, and even pre-headlines. So these are where you're going to get the eye openings for your people. If you want click rates, if you want open rates, this is the golden key. So Michele, give us a heads up on what is a pre-head, headline, and subheadline, and what's the purpose of them?
Okay, cool. So basically, most people talk about headlines. And headlines are kind of like the big. That's sort of the main piece of the copy that you'd see. But I also think that there's actually 3 parts of it, or there could be 3 parts of it, which is the pre-head, which is above the headline, and the subhead, which is below the headline. So, and they can all work together. Now, if you were wanting, like a pre-head is usually, if you've seen these, they're usually on sales letters. They're usually not on social media posts or other things. And they're usually smaller texts. And they'll say something like, attention women entrepreneurs who are really stressed and overwhelmed. So something like that. So they're very specific. They speak directly to an ideal client group.
Got it.
And the headlines are usually bigger. A lot of times they're a different color than the main copy, like red or blue or something like that. And they might say something like, give me 3 days and you'll, give me 3 days and you'll recapture your passion and excitement that you had for your business, or something like that. And then a subhead is smaller. Again, it's a lot of times it's a different color. It doesn't have to be, but like it'll be black. So it'll be a different color, than the headline. So it'll be smaller, it'll be underneath the headline, and it's usually getting things into more detail as to what it is. Like, this is a step-by-step proven system that's going to walk you through and in less than 3 months and completely transform your life. So it's more detailed into it kind of touches on the what the solution is, plus it's kind of tapping into sort of the transformation, the overall transformation that you want to have. So that's kind of what the 3 are. You don't need all 3, but as you can see, if you do them right, they all work together, because the pre-head's really focused on the ideal client and the subhead's really focused on the transformation. So then the headline can really be used, which is something that it's designed for, which is really to get your attention. So all three do work to get your attention, but the headline, because it's bigger, that's the one that's kind of like more the showstopper. And the point of all 3 of these is really to get you to read the first sentence of your copy. So that's what you're, and like if you're using a headline for an email, that's your subject line. So again, see, that's the point. The point of all this stuff is simply to get you to read or get you to open. So like the subject line is to get you to read the email. If you see that there is usually a headline on social media posts, again, it's to get you to read the rest of the post. So anytime you're using like a 1 sentence kind of showstopper, grabber, to kind of shake people out, that's kind of that's what the headline is. And so it's chance that you're looking at a headline, even if it doesn't look quite like a headline, like some of the ways that we may have thought a headline would be.
Yeah, I've seen, so emails, for when you're doing an email subject line, that's the headline, and then extra preview text is the subheadline then. And that,
yeah, if you could do that, yeah. So that could be a way to look at it. Yeah. So you don't need all 3. I like to at least think about using all 3, because then, because I do feel like they all kind of, do a different job. So when they work together, otherwise you're trying to cram in too much on the headline, the poor headline shoulders, and the headline's got enough to do trying to get you to read more copy.
Got it. And what's like, I know that there's like a specific amount of percentage that you can have open for emails, or what works best with social
Oh
media?
my goodness, that is so varies depending on the industry and the market. And even I've done some deep dive research in that, and it is just all over the place. And it's even like different compared to US versus Asian. Like I remember either Japanese or Chinese, I don't remember which country, but like their open rates were were vastly lower than ours, whereas like some European countries is higher than ours. So it varies hugely depending on the industry and depending on the country. So I would say at this point, anything above like 20-25% open rate, you're doing really well, especially in this market. But like I said, there are some industries where like 30-40% is not unheard of. So then having a 20-25% would not be very good. If you're in this entrepreneurial space, anything above 20-25%, you're doing pretty good. Or any space, like I'm thinking even some of the health and relationships, because they're getting a little overcrowded, those open rates are going down too. So so the big thing is to keep an eye on what you're doing. So you're going to get your best open rates when an email list is fresh. So when you first, like if you do a big list build, like I know you're doing, you're just an online show, and that might be why some people in here, you're probably going to get your best open rates the first month or so after the show. And then they're going to start to go down. So the idea is really to just watch what you're doing. What kind of open rates are you used to? And then you can see, like, if your open rates start to either spike or go down significantly, then you need to do something else. So it's less, it's always something good to try and to see what the industry is so you can do better. I mean, I always think doing better is a good idea, but big reason why to keep an eye on it is to see how you're doing compared to yourself, because you're going to have a different relationship with your list than anybody else's.
That's beautiful. And are there different types of headlines? Like, I believe there's some that you can go curiosity based, or what are the other ones?
Yes. So there's definitely different formats or formulas almost. So like one that's popular is, you can't go wrong. And it's it's like, if you want an easy one, you don't feel like you're a really good writer, or you're very new to this, it's like a how-to, like any kind of how-to headline, like how you can do that. It may not be the best headline in the world, but it's probably going to at least be, at least be adequate enough to at least put it out there and get started. And part of it is like, just look at the book titles out there. I mean, look at how many how-to nonfiction books there are out there. So, how-to nonfiction books will get people's attention. You can also look at, like if you want something that's a little more shocking or a little more curiosity, I mean, it's always a good idea to look at things like magazines, because they spend a lot of money on the front of their magazines. And usually if you look at that, there's a lot of curiosity in there, a lot of kind of urgency type thing, almost like the clickbait. But again, you got to be a little careful about that, because if it doesn't live up to the clickbait piece of it, that can work against you as well. So, but I would say, studying but how-to headlines are probably the easiest. And then, like, if you want to do something that's got more curiosity, that's always a good thing. Adding a guarantee, if you can do that, is a good thing. Putting something in there about a step-by-step system, proven system, or that can be in your subhead. Those are good things. A time limit is a good thing too. So like 5 days or less, you're going to, or 5 minutes a day, you can transform your life. In less than 3 months, you can transform your life in give me 3 days. Because then that people, that makes it more real for people if they see something like that. Another good headline is a story headline. So something along the lines of, what's the name of that famous headline? It was a Carlton headline. It was like how a one-legged golfer got a, like 2 par. I don't know. I'm not a golfer, so I don't know. But it was like a really good. It was a really good golf store, like 5 under par. I don't even know if that's a thing, but But it's like how one-legged golfer got, on 500 power, and how you can do the same. So, and that was in the beginning of it was kind of like a testimonial story about how this one-legged golfer was able to really improve his golf game. So that was like, so it's kind of a story type thing. So that can work very well as also.
That's amazing. So you mentioned some stories, some curiosity, some just urgency in general with time limits. And those are good for headlines and subheadlines, to be clear, correct?
Well, yeah, you can, it's kind of a mixing, matching. I mean, I kind of put it a little bit together, but you can put like the guarantee, the time limit, and some of that in the headline itself. If you don't use it in the headline, you can use it in the subhead. I guess that's probably a better way to say it.
All right.
So those are and you don't have to use all of them. In fact, maybe it's better you don't. So the idea is not to stuff everything in. The idea is to just play around until you kind of come up with an angle in your particular case that's really catchy.
Perfect. And just to give everyone kind of like a tidbit on what else is part of the copywriting world, after they get kind of like the idea of the pre-head, headline, and subheadline and start getting openings, what do they write in their email? Just give them like a small tidbit.
So the big thing that you really want to do, okay, so, I mean, what I like to think about is like your headline is getting them to read the first sentence of your copy, and then the first sentence of your copy is getting to read the second sentence. So think of it as a building block as you're reading through there. So that can be one way to think about it. And then in terms of what to cover, I mean, you kind of want to do the same. I don't want to say the same stuff, but I mean, the idea is that, what you always want to be talking, what you always want to make sure is keep front and center is your brand, what you're about. So get very clear on your message. So, and your message should be a combination of what's keeping your ideal client up at night and how your solution helps them sleep. It's that, and I want you to be really specific. I don't want you to say something, well, what keeps my ideal client up? Well, money, they have money problems. It's like, no. What are they specific? People aren't saying I have money problems, but that's keeping them up at night. They are specifically saying something like, oh my God, like if they're entrepreneurs, like I need more clients, I need to learn how to sell better. I need to learn how to budget. I need to get a promotion. I mean, they're doing something specific. So what are they specifically saying, and how does your solution specifically help them? So keep that front and center. So, and you should always, I mean, you don't always have to say it straight out, but if you always kind of bring it back to your core message, you can't go wrong. And then you can kind of dress it up with, maybe you do a case study, or maybe you do a story out of your life, or maybe you start with just a question, or you just do something like, my course is starting, click here to finish. I mean, so you can play around with that, but just always keep in mind but if you always bring it back to the message and kind of have that wrapped around it, it's going to make a lot of sense.
All right, perfect. I feel like that was a great chunk of subheadline, headlines, and pre-headlines. Yeah. Do you have anything else that you feel like is important for you to mention before we cut that piece out?
So I guess the thing is be patient with yourself, because headlines really is not even professional copywriters struggle with. It's kind of like writing features and benefits too. I mean, this is not, it's not really natural writing. I mean, usually, when writers are writing, they're writing like sentences and paragraphs and kind of like developing a whole story arc. I mean, that's why a lot of writers like to write books, either fiction or nonfiction, because it's like it's that space to kind of develop an idea. So writing headlines and writing kind of getting this pithy, short and sweet sentences doesn't come easy. I mean, it doesn't really come. I mean, there's probably a few people out there it comes easy with, I shouldn't say, but it's not. It tends to be a skill you learn versus something that you just kind of like are born being able to do. So don't So try to be patient with yourself and just practice. Like I said, read the magazine headlines. Kind of immerse yourself, in the world of headlines, and kind of learn to do it that way. Mm-hmm. And just know that this is, you're practicing, and just keep working at it, and you'll get better.
And do different ideal clients like different things? Like, is there an opportunity for a specific ideal client to like curiosity based more versus, or is it?
Yeah, you want to test that because your ideal clients may respond differently to different headlines and subheads. So yeah, so that's I would say if your sales letter is not converting the way you want it to, or your emails are not clicking through, um, well, actually, your emails it might be a little, there might be more to it, but for your headlines, for your like opt-in pages, that's what I should say. Opt-in pages, that's when you're giving a name and email address and opting into something.
Mhm.
Like any of those pages, I would definitely, if you want to improve conversions, fix the headline first. Start playing around with headlines because that can be the fastest way you can change things.
All right, perfect. I feel like that was amazing. So thank you very much. And I know like I have your sub headline for your love based copy here, which is attract, inspire, and invite your ideal prospects to become ideal clients and feel good doing it. We'll show you how in this done with you copy program. So that's a great example of her. That's a sub headline, correct? Is your main headline, I guess, of love based copy school in general. So thank you very much. That was amazing. And before we end this, I want you to mention a little bit more of what you do and what love-based copy, the love-based copy school is, so that they can get a little feedback on how can that help them in this process of learning copywriting.
So thank you. So Love-Based Copy School is actually a year-long done with you program. And the reason why I made it a year long is because, well, I mean, you're going to need copy throughout the year. And so, so the thing is that I mean, you could, everybody has different launches at different times or needs a piece of copy done at different times. So this way you have a whole year. You have a whole year to go through the training, and throughout the whole year, you can be posting, like let's say you want an email and you really want this email to go well, you can be regularly posting copy in our private forum for critiquing from myself and my copy coaches. You will have access to a monthly group call where you can come and ask questions and have hot seats. You will if you had a launch and it didn't go as well, you can bring stuff back to the group and we can dissect it and see what you did wrong. How can you recover from it? So it's really deeper than just a copy course. So this is just, I mean, there's a lot of training in there. So yes, it's going to be able to teach you how to become a better copywriter, and especially how to sell more with love, so that you're selling with love versus fear. So it totally will. So there's totally will teach you how to do that. But it also is going to teach you just how to build a love-based business, like how to actually not how to be more peaceful, how to sell, like get on a phone. I mean, I don't actually cover selling skills, but in terms of your presence and showing up on the phone before a sales call and do it in a way with love versus fear, that's the kind of stuff that you'll get out of this. And like I said, and then you'll have that step-by-step, that ability anytime throughout an entire year to post your copy and get feedback for, or come back and ask questions for, which is extremely valuable. So it's really like a done with you copy coaching for a whole year.
That's amazing. And that's very benefit rich. It's not just a school where you learn and you let go. You're learning and you're guiding them along the way, because copywriting does take a lot of time. I myself have my own copywriting certification, so I know the importance of having someone there kind of holding your hand along the way versus, okay, cool, here's your certification, now good luck. And being
well,
pushed out
exactly,
the
and you
door.
want that feedback. So that's the thing. So it's like because we all get stuck somewhere, and we just want another pair of eyes on it. So that's what this is really valuable
Definitely. And I know that normally copywriters cost what, $2K a month. So I think this is amazing to be able to have a whole year long program where you can keep getting feedback and you keep learning versus giving it to somebody else and having to keep paying them. It's kind of like if you buy a car or if you get a lease. It's kind of like you're buying a car and someone's teaching you how to drive it at the same time versus having a lease over and over again. So it's beautiful. It's amazing. So I gotta ask, how much is the Love-Based Copy School?
So it's normally $14.97, but everybody for the year. But we're also I'm giving all of you a $500 coupon, which you can see below. So it's $9.97, and there are some payment plans. You can check it out on the sales page. So it'll be $9.97, and that is access for the full year. So yeah, $1,000 for the, or $9.97 for the full year to get this kind of access and this kind of critiquing on your copy and just on your message, your business, your market, all of that in general. So that's what's really valuable about it.
What's crazy is I didn't know how much the price was when I started doing this. And I can tell you, I just mentioned a copywriter could be 2K easily a month if you have a good one. So it's crazy to hear you say $9.97. My ears perked. I'm like, I'm in. I need help with that. So definitely, I'm pretty sure that I will see other people that are going to be watching this video are going to be messaging me after this and be like, what? Give me the information. And I will put the link that Michele will send me so I can share it with everybody underneath this video. So get ready, get set, and click away. Thank you, Michele. That was amazing. Anything else that you'd like to mention before we finish off?
No, thank you so much for taking a stand for this, because you're right. Copywriting is one of those things that it tends to be, and it shouldn't be, but it tends to be thought of as sort of an advanced entrepreneurial skill. Mm-hmm. And I don't, it's something that after you've been in, business and entrepreneur for a while, then you finally are like, I guess I need to learn copy. So,
something definitely people should learn in the beginning.
Yeah. And I think it's because people feel like, oh, I can write, it's not a big deal. So, and then they write some stuff and put it out there and it doesn't work. And then they're like, oh, maybe I better get some help. So I really do appreciate you taking putting the attention to this, because it is really valuable.
Definitely. And I know that I have a lot of startup herpreneurs that are going to be watching this. And I think it's important for them to know that this isn't an advanced thing. This is actually something that you should know from the beginning. And copywriting is one of the basic skills you should know before you become advanced. Because if you get, let's say randomly you wake up and you have 10,000 email lists, but you don't know how to copyright, you're not going to be able to get the sales that you want unless you truly know this information. So that was amazing.
And this is the easiest, once you know the skill. I mean, the thing is, this is $1,000. It's so easy to get your money back, because just, a few emails or just, your own sale, and you can easily make this money back. The return on investment is really good for copywriting.
Yeah, definitely. The first time I ever wrote my own sales page, I think I made a little bit over 3K. So definitely one sales page done. I paid for my own program. So thank you, Michele. That was amazing. And I'm sure that we'll talk again. And I'm hoping, hint, for the future here, is I want to create my own little marketing course. And I'm going to have Michele go in there specifically to talk about copywriting, to be there with everybody and kind of guide them along the way too. So thank you, Michele, for this opportunity. And bye, ladies. I'll see you later.